So today we're doing another reaction. It is going to be Thunder God. So you guys already know, one of the GOATs, one of the most humble, awesome, incredible YouTube content creators out there. And a quick announcement, whether this is posted before it happens or not. Thunder God is going to be with us Saturday. And that'll be, let me just find the date as well for you guys. It will be on the 29th of July. He will be with us on a stream, and basically just going to be interviewing him, vibing, talking about all kinds of stuff. It's going to be incredible. Goated vibes, Naruto, you name it. And, we'll have some interview questions, just things like out of curiosity, like, how did you start? What made you so passionate about Naruto? All this stuff, normal vibes. But it's going to be an incredible stream. He's going to be with me and Jay and Shinobi, and it's going to be awesome. Can't wait for that. So if you guys are excited or want to ever be a part of that, it's happening this Saturday. But anyways, we're going to check out his Minato video, and let's see how it is. 15 minutes long, just like Jay's. Let's get it.
What's going on, guys? TG or Thunder God here.
And
today we're going to be talking about Minato in the one-shot manga and how strong he really is, and maybe the upgrades that were made to his character, some of the statements that were made, some of the feats he performs. I'll be kind of shedding light on all that and discussing how impressive it really is, because there's a lot of great stuff for Minato in this manga, and some stuff that, is maybe a bit more questionable, as you guys might imagine if you've read it. Spoilers ahead, but with that being said, like and subscribe if you're new here, and let's get into the video. So starting off, right off the bat, you open Viz, you open Manga Plus, bam, in your face, we see a more prime Han and Roshi display their Bijou in ethereal form, almost charging up Bijou bombs at Minato, Jiraiya, and Co. Very similar to how Naruto enters the Kurama avatar when he undoes the seal separating him and Kurama's chakra, giving this idea Prime Han and Roshi were really just monsters, especially considering they only think the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki from Konoha is capable of combating them. Even Jiraiya remarks how the situation was a close call, even via his standards. This is impressive for teenage Minato, however, as it displays that even at a young age, he has the capability of fighting alongside the Sannin in an era of raging war, along with showcasing his ability to react and teleport away from these Bijou Damas. This encounter was very thought-provoking for Minato, now being witness to the Bijou's power firsthand.
No matter what, Minato is a goddamn teen, and he already knows Flying Raijin, and is the one backpacking and able to save his comrades and his master from Bijou bombs, and is able to react accordingly and teleport away. That is crazy. That is absolutely a feat, hands down. As a fucking teen. Not Jonin, not 4th Hokage, not Edo with KCM, not even Sage Mode. A fucking teen in base. Crazy.
Kushina has the same power inside of her. We find out later on that Minato is actually designing this jutsu for Kushina to be used against opposing Jinchuriki or Bijou. This will play into discussing Minato's strength with the Rasengan later on. However, the fact that Minato is concocting a jutsu of this magnitude to specifically combat the high durability hides and cloaks of Jinchuriki is absolutely absurd. You want an example of this? You have Four Tails Naruto, who wasn't getting pierced by Orochimaru's grass longsword, or how Killer B is capable of dragging his arm against the Raikage's lightning armor when they're performing the lariat, which is deadly on its own, so this is not insignificant. Minato is shown going through an intense training session where Kishimoto brings back the Jiraiya training bit he had with Jiraiya and Naruto, relating to needing your chakra in the direction of your hair, Minato having two whirls, the sign of a genius in Jiraiya's own words. After receiving this information and having his intellect provoked by popsicles, he's able to have the Rasengan take form. Jiraiya once again offering praise with his incredible grasp on ninjutsu. After dropping one of the worst jutsu names in history, seriously, Jiraiya also remarks how Minato has completed the first stage of developing a new jutsu. Kushina then arrives to the training field to meet Minato. Now, I know I'm brushing aside the Kushina stuff. She's going to get her own video since this is basically a Kushina chapter as well. So I'm going to kind of slide past her, but she is going to get her own video after this one. But essentially, it's implied her seal is weakening throughout this chapter from the moment she stepped outside the barrier shown earlier in the chapter. Minato extrapolates on his reasoning for developing the jutsu, as well as how the Rasengan was intended to work in accordance or harmony with Jinchuriki levels of chakra volume. This is more than likely signaling that Minato had intended for the Rasengan to also match the size of the tail beast bombs, with it also being a substitute of sort, as even when Naruto obtains Kurama's chakra and he attempts the Rasengan, he actually inadvertently creates a tails beast bomb in his palm. After applying 6 Pats levels of Riz, we see Kushina undergo Bijuification, where Minato ends up getting slammed by a version 1 tail on the border of entering version 2. The reason I say on the border is due to the eyes, how they're literally the same as Naruto, right as he's about to go into the four-tail state, along with there being black chakra radiating around Kushina. Some people I've seen have also tried to say it's a big anti-feat for Minato, but clearly he's just concerned for Kushina and makes no attempt to avoid or defend himself, actually just trying to help her. If anything, the fact that Minato survives this is more impressive, since we've seen characters like Kabuto get bodied from the raw chakra of the Nine Tails. The reason this is objectively more impressive impressive than a lot of the feats Naruto performs with the Nine Tails is that this is actually the complete QB and not half the chakra that was sealed inside Naruto.
Yep.
So him not just getting destroyed outright while off guarded by his tail swipe.
This man is speaking absolute facts, bro. So if you guys have not seen my reaction to Jay the Great's Minato video, I went very, very in depth and talked all about this. So I'll keep this very short and concise. It's not an anti-feat. The context is there. Plenty of variables. He's clearly off guard. You know what I mean? He's not in a battle stance or combat stance. You don't have to actually engage and fight to the death or anything like that or whatever. Once again, it's just not the case at all. That's why he even gets tagged to begin with. And he even has even more better impressive feats against something that is way more powerful than V1 and V2. Okay? And then most importantly, the fact that he survives and lives from that is insane. While there's so many other characters that are getting bodied by only half the power of the Nine Tails in tremendously weaker states in comparison. So it is absolutely insane and incredible survivability feats, or under the right definition, you could even potentially consider it a durability feat, depending on your perspective between durability and survivability. So no matter what, that's just, if anything, it's just even more impressive. It's incredible and goes to show. And most importantly, we literally see Minato's best AP and durability feat as a teen later on in the fight, which Thunder God will eventually go over. So absolutely agree. You can't be any more correct about that.
It's pretty nutty stuff. After the fact, we see the Nine Tails freeing himself from the restraints inside Kushina's psyche, attempting to slam her with his tail, only to be blocked by Sealing Jutsu, which is revealed to be Minato. Now, I want to put this into perspective for you, because this is actually a pretty absurd feat that nobody's really talking about. Minato was able to recover enough from getting slammed and dash at Kushina and implement the sealing before the Nine Tails in her psyche could strike her down. That's a stupid, crazy speed feat. And we know this happens in real time because Kushina and Minato are reacting in real time. You could maybe say he has Flying Raijin seal on her, allowing him to teleport to her. However, Kishimoto is very explicit when showing a character teleporting to another character via Flying Raijin. And due to that,
he consistency-wise and in character always emphasizes when he's using Flying Raijin. Always. Minato either uses Body Flicker or he uses Flying Raijin. He definitely used only Body Flicker because, once again, there's no emphasis like Thunder God is saying. That's absolutely true. Better yet, even Minato will even say when somebody even forces him to use Flying Raijin, etc. So, or he'll show the mark, whatever, blah, blah. So, absolutely, he is correct.
Not being the case here, it leads me to believe this is just pure body movement by Minato. So we actually do see him kind of outspeed the Nine Tails to a degree from a disadvantageous situation. Here we probably get to the most controversial part of this manga. We see Minato augment the Tetragram seal in his own style. Minato actually improving upon the seal that was likely used on Mito Uzumaki herself. Yet Minato is shown here improving upon it and thus stops the Nine Tails from continuing his assault on Kushina's psyche. We then get to the statement that everybody's talking about. Kurama remarks that Minato, despite not being an Uzumaki, is able to augment the seal used on Kurama, leading to Kurama praising Minato as a most powerful shinobi, ranking alongside the first Hokage Hashirama. Now, I want to start off by saying this before everybody starts going crazy and losing their minds. I want to,
the way he did the fucking Heath Ledger voice, bro, that was perfect, too. This man could dress up as Joker and do the fucking voice dead ass. That actually got me. Oh man, that was great.
Regardless of how you interpret this statement, this is ridiculously high level of praise for Minato, and it's clear Kishimoto believes he should be discussed alongside Hashirama, whether that be in abilities or pure strength. Now, I'm going to kind of give my perspective on it. Kurama only gives this praise after discovering that Minato is not an Uzumaki and that he's augmenting his seal.
Fuck you, ad. Like, it's so annoying. So I could deal with ads on my phone and immediately skip them.
Recently,
but a PC, I don't know how to fucking do it.
I asked Mint
So I have to wait till I can like literally skip it, or just watch it. But fuck you,
In
Ryan
my
Reynolds.
opinion, I believe he's kind of referencing Minato's ability to suppress the Nine Tails, as no one up until this point has really been able to do it aside from Hashirama, Madara, and the Uzumaki clan. So you have this 15-year-old come out of nowhere and just augments a seal that's been used for generations and would invoke some high praise. Even Kurama kind of questions Minato. He's like, why are you even interested in this last? And Minato's like, have you seen that? This is way more consistent with what's
oh man,
been established in the series than 15 to 16-year-old Minato being stronger than Hashirama. It just seems to be in reference to either some form of Fuinjutsu, like sealing, or just Nine Tail suppression in general.
Yeah.
Again,
so the only thing I'll say on that is, once again, absolutely spitting facts. You know, it's a completely reasonable interpretation of what that's more than likely pertaining to. I've already explained before, I think it is blatantly pertaining to his abilities in jutsu power. Because once again, like, he's over here doing the ceiling, and that's what's basically being acknowledged and blatantly being effective on the Nine Tails to save Kushina. He's also like what Thunder God showed, able to like fucking immediately move so fast to save Kushina from getting even fucking stabbed by the Tail Beast, by sealing him or whatever. Okay, and then also uses an incomplete small ass Rising Gun while not at full power, severely injured twice, remind you. Okay. And is able to literally stalemate his power, okay, and then, and fight back against him, which is absolutely insane. With no Sage Mode, no KCM, young as fuck, fatigued, not at full power, because he just did the Rising Gun training, is immediately getting into this situation, got injured severely twice, got stabbed by a V2 tail in the fucking chest, got sliced in the chest as well by V1. So, like, that's just absolutely insane and incredible. So I think it is definitely reasonable to say that it has to be pertaining in, jutsu and ability and power. The only reason why I'll say that is because, once again, if you even analyze the fight with Hashirama against Madara, Kurama does the same Biju size, the same particles, everything's exactly the same. The only difference, Hashirama uses a wood golem, to block it and then, hit it back, and the explosion happens, and Madara and Hashirama have to use their abilities like Wood Style and Susanoo to protect himself. While Minato, instead of Wood Style or Susanoo, he does it with a Rising Gun. A small ass one. While at a severe disadvantage, remind you. And is able to do the same fucking feat. And withstand the explosion. And withstand the fucking force of the clash. Because we all know in Naruto, with all that, if you can't withstand it or whatever, your arm gets fucking blown the fuck off. Like what happens in Naruto versus Sasuke, or what's even shown in Boruto. So overall, that's just incredible durability and AP showings. And if you even really give Minato more of the benefit of the doubt, okay, fucking literally in the manga pen, if you actually look at the drawing and everything, it looks like he's also pushing back Kuruma. You know what I mean? So, meaning having a little bit more force, but still kind of just being like in a tug of war equal input, right? And if it was animated, we could be able to see that even more clearly, but unfortunately it's not. So, but overall, let's say you just remove that and don't even do that. Bare minimum, he is stalemating that Biju Bomb, which is insane. Because Kurama has 4 size of Biju Bombs. So small little bullet ones that he'll do. Or the size that he does against Minato and Hashirama, where he can just spam that. Which is, mind you, really, really fucking big, remind you. It's not small. It's a pretty big size. Then he has the second one to where it's really big, to where that he did against Naruto in the Astral World. After Naruto got the KCM form. And the one that he does against all the Biju in the War Arc. And then the third size, okay, is where he's combining and adding energy along with the 8 tails, which is even more crazy bigger, you know what I mean? So he has multiple sizes, but the one he uses consistently all the fucking time is the first one that he used against Hashirama, Madara, and Minato. And that alone is full power of 9 tails, pretty big, and crazy fucking powerful, you name it, to fucking pierce through mountains, devour mountains, you name it, etc. Okay, and there's only been 2 shinobi ever to be able to deal with that shit, including Minato, that has been shown objectively, right? So, there you go. I mean, so no matter what, with the context and with literally Minato in a combat situation, performing those feats on top of it, along with that statement, to me, I feel like that would be the stronger possibility in the statement. But if you just want to say overall in suppression or just ability in that regard, like what even Thunder God is saying, that's perfectly reasonable as well. Because let's be real, he's dead ass, suppressing the 9 tails, etc. You know what I mean? And then no matter what, a lot of people like to be dishonest, and you name it, and also say oh, that's only pertaining to ceiling, whatever, blah blah. That also doesn't work because Hashirama's not known for sealing. He's only known for suppressing the Biju with his hacks, with Wood Style and a mark, while Madara does it with the Sharingan. You know what I mean? Hashirama doesn't specialize in fucking sealing. That's what his wife was for. She was the one that actually sealed the 9 tails, and it was stated verbatim. And in the War Arc, he literally asked for the sealing shinobi to seal Madara. So Hashirama is not known for sealing. You know what I mean? So overall, that doesn't work either. So regardless of all the sophist arguments or rat arguments, there you go. So I think the most 2 reasonable ones is either along what I would say or what Thunder God is advocating, and I feel like that's completely reasonable. And then most importantly, as 4th Hokage, he gets even stronger, okay, right? Because the time goes by, Shinobi gets stronger over time, and then literally is replicating the same exact feats against the 9 tails. The same exact feats. He's able to react, dodge, you name it, the whole fucking 9, and then seal it. So, overall, it's nothing crazy, it's nothing weird or anything, and it's completely reasonable. But I just want to kind of put my input on that myself.
This becomes a lot more consistent when you consider Kurama's point of view, as he's been exposed to very few humans of substance, the only ones to actually suppress his power to the degree, again, being Madara, Hashirama, and the Uzumaki clan. So seeing, this young shinobi perform this would just be absurd.
Yep.
This also helps completely not break every ounce of scaling in the Naruto manga, as Minato's outright stated to be surpassed by Naruto after Naruto had linked up with Kurama's power, with him becoming adept at handling his chakra, with Madara consistently washing the same Naruto with low amounts of difficulty, and Hashirama able to stalemate this Madara. Is also consistent with the chapter itself, as Minato clearly isn't able to take down the likes of the 5 and 6 tails, whereas Hashirama has a wooden golem in his back pocket as strong as the complete 9 tails. So it just seems far more consistent when everything's taken into account. There's also another layer to this, and I'm confident everybody is doing this. Your favorite YouTubers are all going to do it. That is the translation itself. So for anybody who's not familiar with the reasoning and why people would even be coming at the translation, despite Viz being the official release for Naruto, there's actually a middleman who is kind of in charge of localizing the manga to other languages.
Yep.
It's also why Japanese anime, subtitles and English,
AKA professionals. Now I'm not going to really explain all this. I'm just going to let Thunder God just fucking cook and spit nothing but fire. But once again, in my reaction with the Jay the Great video and his Minato video, I go way more in depth with this and just explain how crazy and silly it is to say the translation is not credible or incompetent, or or it could be a mistranslation, or somehow, some way you translating it yourself is more transparent or more has more integrity than an actual professional fucking translating the language. You know what I mean? That reminds you, Kishimoto has to work with these people, whatever, blah blah, and dissect his language to other languages. It's crazy, you know what I mean? And we have manga, anime, and data books, but apparently all of that is now questionable and not correct. It blows my mind how far people will go to just nitpick or just really rat their ass off to this bullshit. The evidence is there. Stop being a bitch about it. You know what I mean?
English dubs don't sound exactly the same or have the exact same words. Now, for Naruto, there's actually a letterer that replaces things like dialogue, adjusts font sizes, etc. on top of a translator, so it's a multi-man process. Now, if you want to know where I'm getting this from, it's actually on the Naruto official website, link in the description below, where they outline the entire process of how Viz comes to these translations. But essentially what this means is that the letterer can make mistakes or add words not present in the original kanji. An example of this is when Kabuto remarks in the original Naruto manga that Orochimaru is superior than Sasori. This is actually not present in the original kanji and was something added in by the letterer. So what does that mean? Well, I had a buddy of mine who's pretty reliable for translations kind of break it down for me. I'll leave his channel in the description. And he was able to break down and shed some insight on what the statement was saying with the raw kanji, also on screen for anybody who wants it or is curious. His localization translation came out to, Minato learned to strengthen the Uzumaki seal just like Hashirama did. Or at least that's kind of the meaning from the translation. Now, instead of just being like, trust me, bro, I'm actually going to put the raw kanji in the description, as well as outline pretty much how we came to this conclusion on screen. But this will also be consistent with the chapter with Minato learning Uzumaki sealing and adding onto it. So him being comparable to Hashirama in a suppression slash sealing manner just seems a lot more consistent, especially with what's been presented in the series. If you want to have your own translation, maybe plug it into ChatGPT, which a lot of people use for translating. The kanji is going to be down below, just to kind of be transparent with this information, because, it's going to kind of dive around. I just think this is the most consistent way to look at it. Bottom line is, I don't think teenage Minato is beating Hashirama, especially since QB Minato is more comparable to full power Hashirama. So I'm going to kind of move on from this point, but yeah, that's my closing thoughts, kind of my opinion. And there's also a narrative to this that I'm going to add in at the end of the video, because this all does fall in line with the narrative that was presented in Naruto Shippuden. But after a bit more exposition, we see Kushina improve upon her Uzumaki chains in this moment of crisis, very similar to Karin when Sasuke's life was on the line. We jump back to Minato, and he was actually able to bring consciousness to Kushina for a brief moment, until Kushina goes into her version 2 state, with 7 tails active, piercing right through Minato. Minato's actually still able to maintain the seal despite despite this happening, where we see him hop up from the free throw line and dunk a Rasengan into Kurama's tail beast bomb. Now, there's a bit to unravel here, but I want to start out by saying how impressive this is for a few reasons, as we lead into the feat itself. For starters, Minato is being stabbed by the version 2 Ninetales, whose swipes are compared to poison, to the point Sakura, an actual medic who can heal herself, is nerfed for the rest of the arc, along with having her bodily movements hindered via getting swiped by Naruto, let alone a hole in someone's stomach. While this is happening, Minato's chakra enters Kushina's mind. I'm going to talk about this astral projection thing in a second, but I do want to note 2 things. This is a complete Bijou bomb, and Kushina is holding and restricting the Ninetales, painting this situation as a bit of a team effort instead of just Minato boloing, which I do think plays into the overall narrative that I'm going to discuss later on between Kushina, Minato, and the Ninetales. Now, a lot of people are going to be split on this one with one of two takes. This isn't the real Minato, so it doesn't matter. Or this can actually be used to assess Minato's strength. We actually know that in Naruto vs. the Nine Tails, Killer B bumps fists with Naruto and, like, you know, shares some of his chakra to help Naruto out. And he actually notes that he has very little might inside of Naruto's head. Yep. What people need to understand is that Minato has showcased the ability to leave portions of his chakra and Kushina's chakra inside Naruto's head in the original timeline, which is how they meet with him. And in both situations, Minato and Kushina were capable of influencing Naruto internally and externally. Minato rebuilds Naruto's seal, and Kushina helps him by suppressing the Nine Tails inside Naruto's head. Again, they're doing this with portions of their chakras, not their full abilities. Now, I want to display how impressive this Rasengan feat is for everybody, and the state of Minato performing it and what it exactly means. Minato, before he performs this feat, had just finished training, exhausting himself on a new jutsu during training, got slashed by the Nine Tails tail, expending chakra, reinforcing and augmenting Kushina's seal, had the Nine Tails gouge him in the stomach with a cloak that is comparable to poison, and should be hindering his cognitive abilities. And Minato comes in with Kushina's aid and slams his Rasengan against the tail beast bomb. A Rasengan that was just created and not mastered, as it took Minato 3 years following this to actually perfect the jutsu. Holy shit, dude. And the crazy thing is, this is against the complete Nine Tails. Now, with the kind of astral projection stuff, it's more, honestly, it's more of like a chakra battle, right? So when you kind of look at it, you have, you know, Kushina against like the Nine Tails when she's helping Naruto out. She's basically like suppressing the chakra, stopping the Nine Tails from taking over. Naruto has to damage the Nine Tails to take his chakra. So it's really, are they able to kind of restrict the Nine Tails chakra in these encounters? In which case you have Minato with this small portion of his chakra come in and combat the complete Nine Tails. Now, we don't see the outcome of the feat where he slams the Rasengan against the Bijou bomb, but I will say, the fact that Minato is actually pushing back against the bomb, as you see the movement lines on it, and able to create an explosion, does mean it would have to be comparable, as otherwise it would just have gotten boloed, like when the Shinobi Alliance in the Fourth War created hundreds of mud walls that did nothing against the Ten Tails Beast Bomb. Or when the Eight Tails.
It's a very good example. Yep, just like with the fucking Ten Tails Bijou bomb, or just like when any other Bijou bombs being launched at the mountains and it's just going through mountains and then blows up and devours the mountains. Or just like any other fucking time where fucking, you know, Raikage is piercing through shit. Yeah, so it's blatantly an AP and durability feat. Blatantly. He blatantly scales. And mind you, he's not even at full power. And he's a fucking teen. That's crazy, bro.
Shooting Bijou bombs at it. It would have to be somewhat comparable.
Yes.
This also, in fact, means that Minato's Rasengan was strong enough to hinder the Nine Tails and allow Kushina to suppress it. As if she didn't suppress it and Minato's efforts were worth nothing, then Nine Tails would have roamed free and just wreaked havoc on the village. It would have completed its takeover on Kushina. So Minato's Rasengan would have had to have been effective, at the very least, at stunning the Nine Tails, or in some way, shape, or form counteracting the Bijou bomb. So I think this is a pretty huge upgrade for Minato in terms of his power behind his Rasengan, which is also consistent with Naruto Shippuden, as his basic Rasengan's more comparable to the Rasen Shuriken. We then cut to Minato in the hospital, and he obviously survives. Everything's good. He lays on some more Riz, all that good stuff. But I was mentioning the narrative before between Minato, Kushina, and the QB. What am I talking about? So essentially, this is presented in Naruto Shippuden, specifically when Naruto's like trying to take over Kurama's chakra, and you know, he's talking with the Nine Tails more throughout the war. Essentially, from the Nine Tails point of view, and he notes this multiple times, he views Kushina and Minato as his arch enemies. These are two individuals who are consistently able to suppress him, seal him, and combat him. And the icing on the cake is how they sealed the Nine Tails inside of a small child, which only amplifies his hatred of them, as it's a huge like thing of disrespect. It's like, you sealed me inside a baby. And then you have Naruto, when he obtains Kurama's chakra and he's going throughout the war, he actually notes his like source of motivation or inspiration almost. He refers to them as his twin sons, which juxtaposes Kurama's view of those two are like the villains in my story. With this, it's kind of established that the Minato Kushina combo, especially when you look at the Nine Tails breaking free or this chapter, it's very implied, in my opinion, or I believe Kishimoto's trying to kind of portray that the duo of Kushina and Minato are what is able to take down the QB, or able to suppress it, or able to combat it. as Kushina with her adamantine sealing chains and Minato with his various sealing ninjutsu or Rasengan variants are able to combat it. This is what's displayed prominently throughout this chapter. This is what's displayed when the Nine Tails breaks out and the Nine Tails attack against the Leaf Village, and Minato and Kushina ultimately end up dead. Finally cemented as Naruto, the culmination of these two beings, being the one to ultimately surpass both of them and befriend Kurama. It kind of ties in very nicely, but the bottom line I have with this one shot, I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I think it really cements how Kushina and Minato are really the perfect tag team to take down the QB, and together they are capable of suppressing it and dealing with it. So that's my viewpoint. Let me know what you guys thought about the Minato one shot. Let me know if you agree, disagree, why. This is just my perspective on it. I really wanted to voice my opinion on this as I had some strong feelings, but I do feel like this is the most consistent route in terms of like looking at this. So, you know, great upgrades for Minato, great stuff for Kushina. Let me know if you guys want to see a Kushina video. I really want to do that as she has so much great stuff here. And Kushina has great lore as well. There's a lot of great stuff for her. Many times can I say great. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.
All right. Not too bad. So, for the most part, it's a W video. A very, very good video. You know, Thunder God did a good job, so I'm definitely like that. And, you know, most importantly, basically everything you got out of that video is just nothing but facts. Just absolutely spitting facts. You know, what I can't, the only thing like you can technically like, you know, contest in a way what he said towards the end of the video is I don't think necessarily Minato would need the aid of Kushina. Like, it's shown consistently that, you know, both of them can be able to clearly take down the Nine Tails or work on them, right? But I do think, at least, especially if we're talking about like joining Minato or Fourth Hokage Minato, especially even Edo Minato, you know, he would have the ability to combat against the Nine Tails because he's been shown to do it and be able to seal it. You know what I mean? Better yet, there's even statements that he can seal the full Nine Tails. He doesn't even need the Reaper Death Seal to do it. And then literally, you know, he could be able to seal it, or he could be able to combat it with his Rising Ons and stuff, you know, Flying Rising on top of it, you name it. So he could definitely fight the Nine Tails and suppress it on his own if he needed to, you know what I mean? Or just blatantly seal it himself. He has the ability for it. He has the statements and the feats. So I will say that you know, I do feel like that. I don't think Minato necessarily would actually require Kushina in order to, like, you know, be able to actually get that type of feat across as well. And it also just contradicts, because then what's the point of the statement that, you know, Kurama's making as well, you know, in correlation to Hashirama. So, but, you know, and then most importantly, like, every time we see Minato in part one, Shippuden, whatever, he's like, even with like just fragments or like a small amount of fucking his chakra and Naruto and whatnot, he's able enough to immediately subdue the Nine Tails and deal with him, you know? So it's like, personally, I absolutely do think a full power Minato especially would be able to easily subdue the Nine Tails. Just like Madara or Hashirama. So that's just me personally. Better than that, it was a very, very good video. Very, really good. I expect nothing less from one of the GOATs. Very underrated YouTuber. I definitely do think he deserves a lot more attention and a lot more subs, etc., you name it. But no matter what, just like anybody else, no matter how underrated he may be or how much you have to grind to get up there, he's going to get it no matter what in time. He deserves it. Good for him. And that's just that. And no matter what, that you're just a real one for that. You know what I mean? If you actually really earn your shit, you're a real one, and you can acknowledge that, right? So something you can flex. But overall, that is going to be it for this reaction video, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. Comment your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think. If you guys want more in-depth analysis or more explanations, then go check out my reaction to Jay the Great's Minato video scaling. I give way more input on that one. And I'll even put the video in the link in the description down below. So if you just want to click and go in the description of this video and just click the link, it'll bring you right to Jay the Great's reaction, and you get way more information. I just didn't want to kind of repeat myself, you know what I mean, or kind of go over the same stuff I discussed in that. But I did go over some, you know, certain amount of points, you name it, and certain things you can kind of bring up to contest in a way too. So, but anyways, Batman out.